Hello, Durud and Shalom, everyone. Look, I'm here with Yuri. I'm not going to be able to pronounce your last name properly, Yuri. So can you pronounce it for me? I'm not even going to try.
Yes, my name is Uri, not Yuri.
Uri.
Kurlianchik.
Oh. Well, I managed to actually not pronounce the first name. I thought I get the first name properly, and that I'm going to butcher the last name. I managed to butcher both of them. So,
well done.
well, sorry about that. And thank you so much for being here. So, you said Uri? Uri?
Yes.
Uri, okay. Uri is an Israeli and a Zionist, right? Proud Zionist,
yes.
Would say?
Very much so.
Okay. And very much so. Ex-Soviet, you came from, your family
Moscow.
came from the Soviet to Moscow. I've been to Moscow. It's beautiful. Have you been? Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So, and we're here to talk about this event that just happened, as you can see below from the Jerusalem Post. And Uri was telling me before we went live that you haven't seen this news, which is basically Reza Pahlavi's, Prince Reza Pahlavi's team visiting Israel. And so here, the Jerusalem Post posted a high-level Iranian opposition delegation led by Saeed Qasemi-Nejad, this guy, which is basically, this is the main advisor of Prince Reza Pahlavi, Saeed Qasemi-Nejad. I had a show with him on the Persian channel. Said met with Innovation, Science, and Technology Minister, and you help me pronounce it properly, Gila Gamliel, pronounced properly, right?
Yes, that's one you did perfectly.
Okay, to discuss plans for a post-Islamic Republic Iran, as well as a resolution to Iran's ongoing water crisis. So, so you said, Uri, by the way, before I ask you about this, can you tell me, our audience, just a little bit about yourself so that they become more familiar with you? And also, let me show them your Twitter account here.
Yes, so I was born in the Soviet Union in Moscow to a pretty dissident family. My mother got in trouble for being part of Zionist youth movement. Her karate teacher went to prison for that. And as soon as it became possible to leave the Soviet Union due to American pressure, we left the Soviet Union and moved to Israel. I grew up in Rehovot. It's a town about 30 kilometers from Tel Aviv. Now I live in Samaria near Modi'in, and basically I've never been activist in traditional sense, but I've always been around activity. Like we joined the Zehut party back in the day. We didn't manage to get into the Knesset, but it was a very interesting experience. And since then, I've basically been trying to provide people with a different view on the conflict, like to provide them with a certain kind of theory, different theory they could use from the one given to them by the media, by public opinion, shall we say it. So this is basically my mission online, to give like a different angle and to provide a different kind of theory.
Okay, I just posted Uri's Twitter account in the live chat, so guys, go follow him there. And thank you again for being here. So let's examine everything that is happening from your angle. You mentioned that you follow the news a lot in Israel, and you have not seen this. Correct? This is something that you didn't.
I was not aware of that. Yes.
Okay. Which is something that we Iranians need to work on, because I personally advocate here that the solution to a lot of Israel's problems is the unity between the Iranian people and the nation of Iran and the nation of Israel, because they share a common enemy, which is the Islamic Republic in Iran, the occupying force that is the Islamic Republic in Iran. And the key to this unity is Reza Pahlavi, Prince Reza Pahlavi, and the fact, and I want more Israelis to recognize him, because Prince Reza Pahlavi is the most popular politician among Iranians. He has the highest amount of support, and Iranians have picked him more than anyone else as the leader of the revolution against the Islamic Republic. And he is a friend of the West, and more importantly, a friend of Israel. And his entire team has now just went to Israel to talk to the highest officials. And this was an official visit. This was an official meeting, which is usually countries leave this for, meeting with the official politicians of a country, not with the revolutionary force. So, but Israel, by meeting with the team of Reza Pahlavi in Israel, is now officially recognizing Reza Pahlavi, Prince Reza Pahlavi, and his team, because they're sitting. This was an official meeting. They had the highest, some of the highest level of Israeli politicians were there, and they met with the team. And this is the highest level of recognition of Prince Reza Pahlavi and his team by any country, and Israel is leading the way in this. And I'm so happy that Israel is leading the way in this. And I want more Israelis to be aware of it. And I'm going to show you more things about this visit. But before I move on, what are your takes on this so far?
Well, it's not the first time Reza Pahlavi visits Israel. For example, during Holocaust Memorial Day, and then later General Memorial Day, he actually met with the prime minister, and he met with the president. So he's definitely a well-known figure. He did come to visit. There were shared speeches. So while I think most people aren't aware of this specific visit because he wasn't a part of it, it's like it wasn't like this big ceremony. It's certainly like the interaction, the friendship between him and the Israeli government, and hopefully the Israeli people, is something which I think most people are aware of.
Right. So even though he was not there, I would suggest that this might even be more significant than his first visit, because his first visit was just like, it was very important. It basically led the way to more Iranians supporting Israel. The reason why in the West you see so many Iranians raising the Israeli flag is because Reza Pahlavi's visit to Israel, right? And more Israelis and more Iranians are now reminded of the ancient bond that they have with each other, and they want to work with each other to fight against the forces of this evil. And that's why I think, but the reason why this one might be even more important was because this was an official meeting regarding the toppling and regime change of the Islamic Republic. So that one was a meeting of friendship, but this is a lot more political, and this is more intentional regarding what to do after the Islamic Republic falls. That's why it's basically Israel's stamp of approval, first country's stamp of approval on officially recognizing this movement in the direction of it, as the movement in the direction of regime change. That's why this is so significant. What do you think?
I lost some of the things you said because I had an internet connection problem. But as you said, it's maybe a recognition of a movement, but it's not like a recognition of power, because basically power comes from power, raw power, guys with guns, airplanes, bombs, and right now I don't see that Reza has that. He is obviously very respected by Iranian expats. He has the respect of the Iranian community in Europe, in the United States, possibly in Israel as well. He has the friendship of some influential people. But what is not clear to me, and what I think is very important, is what is his actual power inside the country of Iran. Like, how many people would actually fight for him? Like, there's a difference between supporting someone, liking someone, and being willing to fight for this person, and of course having this ability.
Right.
So that is, I think, a very interesting question, which I haven't really seen discussed that much.
Right. So there are three types of political power. The most important one you mentioned is military. There's military power, there's economic power, and there's people power, right? And I understand that people power is the least significant of them when it comes to actually trying to get, that's the most important one after you actually manage to defeat your enemies, but it's the least important one before. So
in an authoritarian regime, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So Reza Pahlavi has the highest amount of people power, and yes, and he doesn't have military power, and but Israel has the military power, and the Iranian people are unarmed. They cannot. They have tried many times to fight against the Islamic Republic, and it has proven very, very difficult, given that they're completely unarmed and the Islamic Republic is very armed. And this is why on this channel we think that the Iranian people and the Israeli people, they working with each other, it makes a lot of sense, because Israel has the main thing that the Iranian people don't have, and Iranian people have the thing that Israel doesn't have. And the main thing that Israel has that the Iranian people don't have is arms. They have the best weapons. And what the Iranian people have that Israel doesn't have is boots on the ground, right? So because Israel, if for toppling the regime, you need to actually have people there. And no country, United States or Israel, none of them want to actually send soldiers to Israel. And that's why at some point we're going to need the Iranian people to do something. By the way, I must say that many of Mossad agents that have done military actions against the Islamic Republic are Iranian. They are basically, when we're talking about Mossad agents in Iran, they are basically people Iranians in Iran, right? So they are also, a lot of the activities are done by Iranians, right? But what we need is, in the second wave of the attack that Israel does, for them to weaken the regime to the point where Iranians are not facing this impossible task of going up against this machine that just guns them down if it gets too risky for the government. That's why what Reza Pahlavi's role here is to show to Israel, and by Israel recognizing it, to show to the world that if their regime falls, there is a team, an expert team, because his entire team are experts in everything that is required to run the transition government. So there is a group of people who are very popular by Iranian people. And again, I was trying to download the PDF to show it to you, but I have it in my other streams, that they have 80% support among Iranians, according to some studies. But it's anything, it could be anything between, I don't know, 50% or 80%. The key is that there's nothing else even remotely close. They're the highest, they have the highest support. And again, it says a lot about the Iranian people that the person that they support the most is such an ally to Israel. Does that not suggest to you that Iranian people are a friend of Israel, when the person they are supporting the most is such an ally of Israel?
It's a very interesting question, because when we say about a people believes in that and a people believes in this, then obviously we refer to a certain percent of the people. Like if you take any country, like the United States and Israel are very close allies. But a certain percent of Americans are, for example, very hostile towards Israel. A certain percent is very friendly toward Israel, and the government doesn't necessarily represent that. Because, for example, if you look at people like Nick Fuentes or Tucker or Candace Owens, who are massively popular in certain circles, they are very hostile. So obviously, most Iranian people are unhappy with their government. We saw that in the huge demonstrations. We saw that tweet. But I think most Iranian people right now, at least that's the impression I get, just want to improve their lives. They want to have freedom. They want to have water. They want to have access to the world. They want to have wealth again. And they see Israel as a very viable ally. So that's a very positive sign. But I think what people must understand, that Israel is very small. People say, like, Israel has the military power, Israel can do this, Israel can do that. Israel can't really conquer a country the size of...
Nope. Yeah. So Uri has internet problems. So obviously I'm not talking about conquering. I'm talking, and nobody's suggesting that Israel could conquer like coming to Iran and basically topple the regime. What I was suggesting is that as long that...
Sorry,
so Uri,
I had internet connection problem.
Yes, yes. So while you were out, I was basically saying that I wasn't, obviously nobody thinks that Israel should come and conquer. Obviously, that's not what we're suggesting. Israel
You'll
might
be
be a small
amazed how
country,
much
but
I
they have
hear
been.
that opinion, actually.
Okay, well
You'll be
then
amazed how often I actually
that's
hear that from
crazy.
people. Yes. It is
That's
crazy.
absolutely
And
crazy.
also,
Yeah. So
obviously, I don't support the Islamic Republic, but I do appreciate the sovereignty of Iran, of the Iranian people. The sovereign of Iran is the Iranian people. So you can't just come from outside and tell them, okay, this is your government now. You can't. We saw governments try to do it in the past, and usually it ended very poorly. So,
yeah.
like
So
the idea to
yeah,
force
but
a certain government on Iran.
So what we're suggesting here, I'm going to mention this again, is not for Israel to come do a regime change. Is what Israel, I mean, we don't even need to suggest this. This is Israel's plan right now. Is what we're suggesting is that Israel just continues weakening the Islamic Republic to the point where the Iranian people could actually finally have the upper hand. Because right now, as it is, there is no way that the Iranian people could actually topple the regime. And again, we say this is Israel's plan, and we just want to continue supporting Israel into doing that. And we just it's great that now Israel is recognizing that Reza Pahlavi is the person they need to talk to create, because there's this meeting, and by the way, after this I need to go show you a whole bunch of other things about this gathering, and I need to read this post. But this gathering is a message to two people. First, the world powers, right, to show Israel is demonstrating, is basically, this is an advertising campaign to the rest of the world, that there's a team in place. There are people that could come and fill the power vacuum, and also to the Iranian people who might have been worried or worried, to call them the silent majority, that they are against the Islamic Republic, but they don't know what's going to happen after the regime falls. This is basically a way to encourage them to topple the regime as well. I do want to read Reza Pahlavi's tweet on this topic. And also I then want to show you some videos of the visit, that what happened, which was very interesting. Maybe you'll be interested. But Reza Pahlavi says, "Thank you, President Isaac Herzog." Did I pronounce it right? President Isaac Herzog?
Yes. Yeah. His Israeli name is Yitzhak, but yes.
Isaac. Oh, yeah. It's the English version. And Minister Gila Gamliel for welcoming my delegation. Gamliel for welcoming my delegation of experts at a time when the Iranian people are suffering from severe water crisis, electric shortages, and collapsing economy. This mission is part of the Iran Prosperity Project, a blueprint for Iran's rebirth aimed at unlocking our nation's full potential after the fall of the Islamic Republic. I am certain that Iranian experts working together with Israeli experts will not only develop solutions to address the hardships brought about the regime, but lay the groundwork for the future Cyrus Accord. And by the way, guys, please understand that the term Cyrus Accord has been coined by Prince Reza Pahlavi, and it's basically an extension of the Abraham Accord, where Reza Pahlavi's vision is that once the Islamic Republic falls, we could have the Cyrus Accord, which will include Iran as well. And the name Cyrus is obviously chosen because Cyrus is somebody that is revered by both Iranians and Israelis at the same time, right? So Cyrus the Great. So future Cyrus Accord between Israel and a free, democratic, and prosperous Iran, strengthening the deep ties between our nations, envisioned by Cyrus the Great 2,500 years ago. And just to let you know, this term was coined, but also we can see that after this, the Israel account in Persian. So I don't know if people know, Israel has an account in Persian. They posted Peyman Rosh, which means the Abraham Accord, and they posted this image, which was lovely to see that this coming from the official Israeli account, this being posted. Anyway, so what are your thoughts so far before I continue sharing you more stuff?
It's interesting that they mention Cyrus, because it's a kind of a double-edged sword. Because Cyrus is obviously, as you said, revered by both nations. He restored Jerusalem through Azariah and Nehemiah. And he's the man who basically rebuilt the temple. He's seen by most Israelis as the restorer of Judea. However, he restored Judea as part of the Persian Empire. It was a region in his huge kingdom. He didn't really promote Israeli, well, there were no Israelis back then, Judean independence. So
there was no such thing at that time as.
Yes. So why I'm bringing about this fact from 2,500 years ago, because even before Islam, Iran always had this sort of tradition of being a local hegemony, of being a local great power. So I'm not saying that in regard to Reza, but like if you look at in the future, that is, I think, something that should be a concern to people, that Iran does have a very strong imperial tradition. And when you speak like to people who are against the Iranian government, who are opposition activists, for example, if you tell them, let's support Kurdish separatism, the vast majority of Iranian opposition figures will say, no, we're against. We want to keep Iran whole. So I think that might be a future hurdle, not necessarily for Israel and Iran, but Iran and the West, because Iran does have this very proud imperial
I need to respond to that. I need to respond.
Okay.
I think we're comparing apples to oranges. When you're talking about Cyrus the Great, that was the age of empires. Okay, everything was either an empire or you were basically part of the barbarians. Israel at that time that was not the age of nation states. Any territory to be able to be protected and have stability had to be part of an empire. And at that time, the Jewish people were in no position to create their own empire. There were no nation states. Right now, the world is the world of nation states. Back then, the world was the age of empires or barbarians. So Israel was part of different empires, and they had their best experiences when they were part of Persian empires. When they were part of the Roman Empire, they had bad experiences. When they were part of the Ottoman Empire, they were when they were part of any empire, they didn't have the Greeks, the Romans, the Muslims. They always had bad experiences. But two empires, they always look fondly upon. When they were part of the Achaemenid Empire and the Sassanid Empire, they had really good experiences under those empires. At that time, we weren't in a situation where Israel could be a nation state, and a nation state, right, is a modern concept, right? And the world is so much better because the concept of nation state has been invented in modern times, and it has become the most effective way for us to manage the world in different political units. And Israel gets to be an independent land because of this new modern invention of a nation state. And
it's a very interesting point you're raising here.
Yeah, and the way to defend the current world liberal order is to respect every nation state and respect their border integrity. This is why the example of Kurdish independence does not apply here, because when Israel became a nation state, it became a nation state in a place where there was no country. The Ottoman Empire had collapsed, and that area did not belong to any nation states. So creating Israel as a country at that time did not violate any country's border integrity. However, a Kurdish independence is a violation of 4 countries' border integrity. The way to support the Kurdish people is not to give them a country. The way to support the Kurdish people is to fight for equal rights, for secular democracy, and for equal rights of the citizens of all these 4 countries. And I could say, as an Iranian, I know the Kurdish Iranians consider themselves Iranian first, Kurdish second. They care about their national identity way more than they care about their ethnic identity. And the Kurdish Iranians are proudly on the side of defending Iran's border integrity. And that's how it should be. Any Kurdish separatists in Iran, they would be fighting the Kurdish people first, before they want to fight the rest of the country. It would be Kurdish Iranians that would be standing against any minority Kurdish separatists in Iran. The rest of Iran doesn't even need to get involved because the Kurdish people will respond to them. But yeah, go
on. Yeah, so you brought up here very interesting, two very interesting issues. First of all, is that if you look at who is the most against Israel right now, the most against Zionism, are the groups that, as you said, reject the idea of a nation state, what they call an ethno state, Islamism and communism. They are the two groups which reject the idea of a nation state, and they are basically trying to restore, as you said, the age of empires. They're trying to take humanity back to empires, because they are, ironically, the two most anti-imperialist movements are the two imperialist movements. So that's a very interesting thought here. The second thought.
Oh, sorry. Just to add to your point, there's three movements that were against Israel. I mean, four. One was the Pan-Arabists, which were Jamal Abdel Nasser defeated by Israel. Then the Sunni imperialists that were trying to bring a caliphate, which is anti-nation state in favor of a caliphate. And then the Shia imperialists who are trying to bring an imamate, and they're also against the nation state. Khomeini was an anti-nationalist, famously anti-nationalist. He hated the concept of Iran. He wanted to fight for Islam, not Iran. And then we have the communists and the Marxists who are trying to bring their utopia, and they're also against the concept of a nation state. But the Iranian people are one of the most nationalistic people on earth right now, and they're not trying to expand their borders. They're trying to protect their borders as is. They have no expansionist agenda. They are very in favor of respecting the borders as it is right now. That means not turning into an empire, but that also means that you do not carve into our country at the same time. Yeah, but go on. Second point.
So that's a very different kind of yes. Yeah, I want to say the second point and then also add another thought. So the second point is, when you talk about the liberal world order, it has built-in contradiction, because on the one hand they talk about the right of self-definition, like every nation has the right of self-definition. On the other hand, as you said, territorial integrity is a very important principle, and you have this friction between those principles, which keep creating various complexities and paradoxes. So, but that's outside the scope of our discussion.
It's not a paradox, because liberalism is the classical liberalism is the modern method of dealing with these conflicting forces. So it's not a contradiction. It recognizes that there are conflicting forces, and it tries to provide a solution. And it has whatever contradictions you think there are. Historically, they have been the best solution. We have, ever since World War II, we have never seen this much stability, this much prosperity, and this much progress around the world. And it was because of these standards. And no standards are perfect, but these are the ones that are working the most. And at its core, whatever values the classical liberal values advocate for, at its core, it's based on recognizing nation states as they are. That is the foundation, because you need to have a framework in which you could actually apply these values. So that's why you need to actually protect the framework before you actually could advocate for these values. But I think, yeah, you're right. We're moving away from the topic a little bit. But yeah. If you want to, okay. So
although
let me actually, yeah, go on. Go on. There's a delay.
Delay, so I interrupted you accidentally.
That's okay. Go ahead. You could go ahead now if you need to. Okay, there's a huge delay. So given that there's a huge delay, I am going to quickly show the study that I finally managed to download while Ori was speaking. So guys, here's the study here. If you guys need to see, you can see what to search for. And if you go down, you can see the support for Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi is 79.7%. And you can see Khamenei is basically not even 1%, almost only 0.5%. Right. So just wanted to say, people, that we're not guessing these things. We actually have data to back it. Right.
So why I brought it up, because I was a boy back then, but when I still had the Soviet Union, so my family was obviously against it, and we wanted to see it fall apart. We wanted to see like all the constituent nations leave the Soviet Union. So that's why I brought a very interesting, different kind of opposition that you saw against the Soviet Union and against Iran, because the Iranians who are against their government want to preserve the territorial integrity of Iran, while the people who were against the Soviet Union didn't want to preserve its territorial integrity. They just wanted to to slice and dice it. It's a very different kind of different kind of opposition. And as you said, the Iranian opposition is basically nationalist. The Soviet opposition was like sub-nationalist.
So that's why Israel benefits from supporting the current revolutionary force against Islamic Republic, because they are no threat to Israel. They don't even share a border with Israel, and they want to create and they want to have a secular democracy that is an ally of Israel. So that's why I think this is the group of people that Israel needs to support the most. And again, I'm glad that Israel has moved away from supporting the MEK and also from supporting.
I don't think Israel ever supported the MEK, because the MEK they're basically communists. They're a very extremist movement.
They are, but they did a little bit, but they have stopped it. They use them as spies, I think, a couple of times. But again, let me actually show you how
maybe we cooperate. But I don't think Israel is like ideologically or philosophically support the MEK. The MEK is they're very extremist movement.
Yes, they're very extremist, and they're not just communists; they're Islamic communists, which is basically the worst two ideas in the world combined. And you can see
I don't really see
Rajavi
along with them.
Yes, I know. I appreciate that. And you can see Mariam Rajavi, who's their leader. She has 0% support. And also Abdullah Muhtadi represents the separatists. So you could see that he has 1.6% support. But the MEK, basically, she has less support than the supreme leader, even less than Khamenei. That's how unpopular she is. So let's look at this video, because this is Gila Gamliel posting their videos. I think this is the translation from Hebrew, saying, I visited today together with the exiled Iranian delegation on behalf of Prince Pahlavi and an official delegation of the government of India at Nova complex. So this is, guys, the Nova complex. That's where the October 7th
in Ra'im.
Yes. So, and she says, during the visit, we heard chilling testimonies from survivors and from the wars of bereaved, I'm going to pronounce it right, parents. We experienced the depth of the pain and loss, and together with the heads of the delegations, we planted the tree of life as a symbol of the hope that connects peoples and culture. So yeah, this is Prince Reza Pahlavi's team in Israel. Let's watch them. Let me see. So I think I'm going to mute the music, because I think maybe it will have a copyright. So you can see that guy in the suit, that guy. So that's Saeed Qasemi-Nejad. That's Reza Pahlavi's main #1 advisor. So you can see that he's the main guy at the front, and your minister is explaining these things to her. So I just wanted to show you that quickly, because that was beautiful to see. And then also I want to show this. This is actually very interesting. So this is the delegation. So in Israel, and they went and took a picture at Cyrus Street. So this is very interesting that the Reza Pahlavi's team, when they were in Iran, they went next to. So I want the non-Israelis and the non-Iranians to see how big of a deal the Cyrus name is for both the nation of Iran and nation of Israel. So this
we actually study his declaration
Israel.
In school. We studied the Cyrus Declaration in school.
Really? That's amazing. But again, these Iranians were so happy that when they were in Israel, they went and took a picture at the Cyrus street name when they were. So that was something that they were happy about.
The two most famous Iranian kings in Israel are Cyrus and Ahasuerus. I probably don't pronounce it correctly.
Oh yeah, because of his mention the story of him in the Bible, right? That's the reason.
Yes, the Scroll of Esther. So everyone knows these two names, like absolutely everyone.
Yes. But by the way, in this meeting, your minister, Gila Gamliel, she mentioned that Israel supports Reza Pahlavi's plan. She officially mentioned that. So that when she said that, that was a huge deal. She spoke on behalf of Israel, and she said that they support that Israel stands behind Reza Pahlavi's team and their plans for toppling the regime. Well, I mean, you say, of course, no country has ever said that. This is the first time. This is the first time officially a country says that about Reza Pahlavi. So
I think that like everyone will benefit. Literally, everyone will benefit if the current regime is replaced by constitutional democracy, which is headed by this person who is very well. He actually wants to improve the life of the Iranian people and not, wage endless wars against the rest of the planet. Because right now, the current government of Iran they're not just against Israel; they're basically against all the parts of the West. So I don't think anyone benefits.
The reason why
I don't think anyone benefits from it.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why they're against Israel is because they're against the West, and Israel is standing in the way.
Yeah,
that's their main reason they're against Israel. Yeah.
But also, I actually read the book of the Imam. The principle of how you call it, Islamic guardianship and jurisprudence.
Oh, and Velayat Faqih. Oh, you read the Velayat Faqih book by Khomeini? You read that?
I did, yes. And his idea is basically to take over the world. He thinks that every country should have this defender. Every country should have this guardian, like the little children. You appoint a guardian, and when you read the book, you understand that this person he doesn't plan to just deal with Israel or just deal with Saudi Arabia or whatever. He plans to literally take over the world. That's the idea. They're the enemies of everyone, the way I understand it. And it's a shame that not more people actually take the time to understand the ideology of the enemy, what they believe in. The idea that they want everyone to have an imam. That's the idea. Like everyone in the whole world, they believe that the only way a country can be a decent country is if they are an Islamic Republic. They don't acknowledge anything else. So I think everyone should support removing this regime because it's a threat to literally everyone in the whole world.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so given that, I'm so glad that you said that. Okay, so given that they're not just a threat to Israel, but also a threat to the rest of the world, and everybody should be united on that, and they're not, but they should be. And given that Israel doesn't get as much support as it should get, because Israel is paying most of the price for fighting this evil, even though it benefits the rest of the world. Given that Israel has a lot of allies among the Iranian people, and given that the Iranian people support Prince Reza Pahlavi, and given that Israel needs to topple the regime, the Islamic Republic, the regime in Iran, and given that Israel cannot do this on itself without
that's what I always tell people. Yes, it can only be done if the Iranian people spearhead it. Israel is just not strong enough.
Right. I mean, well, Israel is stronger than most countries, but this is like an impossible task. As Iran is too big and it's too wide, and Israel might be very good in
90
technology
million
and
people.
air power. Yes. So, but the best thing Israel can do, other than everything else that it's doing right now, is to do this. What we're seeing, support Reza Pahlavi. Given that Israel cannot do this by themselves, and they need to team up with the Iranian people because Iranian people and Israel, they share the same enemy. They share their goals are perfectly aligned right now. wouldn't you think that this is an encouraging, like, I think this should have been more viral, right? Given that this is the key, this meeting right here is the solution to the problem. I don't know, what do you think?
It's certainly a step in the right direction, but let me ask you a question. How much, and it's not a rhetorical question, I literally don't know. How much influence do you think Iranians outside Iran have on Iranians inside Iran, given the fact that the government constantly blocks the internet, has all this censorship? So how much?
Oh, we are very connected. So I speak this as an Iranian outside of Iran, and as somebody who has a Persian channel. So I have two channels, an English channel, and I have a channel with a bigger audience, which is a Persian channel, right? And 80% of my audience are Iranians inside Iran, okay? And I also manage our Telegram group and our Discord community. And when we talk, we don't even sometimes know who's inside and who's outside, because it doesn't matter, right? So yes, the government blocks the internet, but Iranians know how to use VPNs. So everybody has a VPN. Almost everybody is on VPN. Like, everybody is using VPN, and they're connected to the whole world. And we're so connected that sometimes when we talk, like, oh, I didn't know you're actually in Iran, or something like, oh, I didn't know you're actually not in Iran, because we've been talking for so long, and we're basically part of like a nation that whatever, it doesn't matter where we are, we're fighting the same fight, and our location is irrelevant. We're one body, so we're not separated.
I think that the most important aspect of that is that eventually, one way or the other, the regime will fall. I think it's inevitable. Yes. And it's important that you already have like a team of people ready to fill in the void. So that's very important. Because when you look at, for example, at the revolution that happened in Russia, it wasn't a communist revolution. The Tsar fled, but there were people, many of whom were overseas, who were already ready to fill in the void. And I think that is what Israel and Reza are hoping for. Because like in my personal opinion, I think that the most likely way that the regime will fall is not through military action. Because as we agree, Iran is a huge country. I think that what will happen is that you will have a generation of people who served the revolutionary units, who served in the military, and like you will have a new generation. They'll say, we don't benefit from it. What happened basically in Russia? They say, we don't benefit from it. We don't get anything for it. We don't have water. We don't have electricity. And what do we get in return? Absolutely nothing. And I think that the fall of the regime will start from those people, from the people who are in power, but they say, okay, so our fathers fought for these ideas, but these are not really our ideas. And that will, I think, happen in about, I'd say, about 15 years. I don't think it will happen very soon, but I sense that we're heading in this direction, that more and more people who will grow up, they weren't around at the time of the revolution. They didn't grow up with these ideas, and they will just want to live a comfortable life. And I think this is where it will start from.
So this is not. So as somebody who I'm in touch with the Iranian people, and I study the Iranian people on a daily basis, let me tell you, that's not something that is going to happen. That is something that has already happened for a very long time. We have already passed that point for more than a decade, right? So we don't have to wait to get to that point. We have already gotten to that point. And
I meant specifically people in the IRGC. People who are in IRGC, but they will say, we're tired of it. We're tired of it. We don't benefit from it.
No, okay. So let me tell you how it works with the IRGC. Okay, it doesn't matter how bad the country gets. The worse the country gets, the more the government is going to be able to give special privileges to IRGC people. Okay, the only way what you need to do with regards to IRGC is do exactly what Prince Reza Pahlavi is doing. He has created a safe platform for people within the IRGC to get connected to his team anonymously. And last time I checked, he had 50,000 people that were pledging loyalty to him from within the IRGC. But it's not because the country is getting poorer and these people's lives are getting worse, because as the country gets worse, the situation is so bad that the only way to get proper jobs is with the government, and the government is going to, economic forces is going to actually be in favor of the government, right? Because it does, even if people are upset, the government has all the arms, and as long as it could get
but the government itself may get tired of that.
No, okay, so that's not okay. So you really have to understand the DNA of. So I follow the government. There are internal conflicts between them, right? I do. There is already a lot of cracks within the regime, but this is a very. That's not what you want, because their DNA is completely anti-imperialism, so-called imperialism, anti-Western, anti-Israeli. And what they're actually trying to do is convince the world that, hey, we are going to get better. So here's what's happening right now within IRGC. There are movements within IRGC that they see the writing on the wall, and they see that the government is about to fall at some point. Okay, we don't know when, but it's getting closer every year, right? It might even happen within this year. We don't know, right? Because if you follow the things I am, things are really bad right now for the Islamic Republic, right? So they see this. Yeah. So what they're trying to do
and
is
Ali
that
Khamenei
they
is
are
a very
trying
old
to.
man.
Yes, and everybody. I mean, after the 12-day war, all the people that were trying to prepare for what to do when Khamenei dies, they're all dead. All the people that were supposed to get the power after Khamenei dies, they're all dead now, every single one of them. So now the internal conflict is so much, has escalated so much, because everybody is basically backstabbing everyone else, because everybody sees that the ship is sinking, and they're trying to figure out who's going to get what position, right? But some people within the regime have the plan of trying to pretend that they are going to be pro-Western, not attack Israel, give some freedom to the Iranian people, just so that they could be in power and not topple the regime. So that just the people who are in the regime right now, they just manage to control and maintain the power after that. Okay, that is absolutely not a good solution. First of all, it's not going to work, because there are enough radicals within the regime that don't care about better lives. Their main agenda is to give the flag of Iran to the Mahdi, to the hidden Mahdi. And even if these other more pragmatic parts of the Islamic Republic, when they try to signal to the West that, or the people of Iran, that we might actually be better, give us another chance, they get attacked by the very same radicals that they have that they're in bed with. Okay, so they will be annihilated by their own people. So this strategy will not work. And even if it did work, it should not be welcomed, because the DNA of the Islamic Republic is anti-Israeli and is anti-Western, and this will just give it some.
I was referring to the next generation.
Yeah, but the next generation. What I'm suggesting is that it should not be within the framework of the people who are in power right now. There needs to be a complete dismantling of the current framework, and the Iranian people will be satisfied with nothing else. You're muted. I don't know what happened, but you got muted. So let me just say this. I hope you can hear me. No, I don't hear you. Yeah, I think you touched something and you disconnected your mic. You touched. I noticed that you touched something. So I'll just keep talking. Maybe the Iranian people, if they see any of the people in power, no, like muting and unmuting the mic is not going to work, because I think you just touched something. It's more of a hardware problem than a software problem, I think. Maybe you
can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go. You're back. Yes. See, I knew it was a hardware problem.
Cable got loose. So what I said is, yes, I absolutely meant that the regime will fall, in the sense that the entire system will collapse. Right. Because in the Soviet Union, when they tried to do the things you spoke about to fix it, it collapsed, because it was just so unnatural. But the collapse of the Soviet Union, it didn't start from the bottom; it started from the top, and then they had a complete regime change.
But this is basically, yeah, okay. So you say that we need to have some people to come and take,
yes,
be ready to come in. Okay, So again, look at this. Maybe I know if you want to study something, you can study this. Okay. So this is the Iran Prosperity Project. Basically, this is the plan by Prince Reza Pahlavi's team. This is the emergency booklet. You could look this up. And this is, you said there needs to be a team in place. So that this is Saeed Qasim Najad, the main advisor of Prince Reza Pahlavi. These are all the experts. And again, Prince Reza Pahlavi picked these people not based on ideology. They're all have been picked based on merit, based on being experts in the field that they study. So a lot of people who were really, a lot of like monarchists in Iran or Iranian monarchists were really virtue signaling regarding how much they love Reza Pahlavi. They're actually very angry right now because none of them have made it in the team, because Reza Pahlavi, instead of picking them, has picked people in his team that are based on the utility they have and based on the expertise that they have. And if you actually go study this,
is it like a shadow government?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting to the point to be a shadow government, but right now it's a government think of it as a government in a box ready to be put in place as soon as the regime is toppled for the transition period before we get the chance to have elections, right? So during the transition period, we need to have a transition government to bring about the situation where we could have our first election, right? So this emergency booklet is that plan, and I would really suggest Israelis study it, because go look at the foreign policy section and what it says about Israel, because it will give you a lot of hope. Maybe we could just search for Israel. Wait, hold on. Sorry.
So let me ask you a question. So we all know that soon there will be round 2 of a shooting conflict between Israel and Iran. What targets do you think Israel should attack in order to help this happen as much as possible?
I think, okay, so Israel should obviously prioritize Israel first, and they did. First, they went to attack the rocket launchers, which was the right target, and then the heads of IRGC, the people who plan attacks on Israel, because Israel's responsibility is should be first to the Israeli people, right? So then the second target in the 12-day war was the forces that could cause disaster for the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain, because dismantling them shows those Arab countries that Israel will back them up, and they don't need to continue supporting the Islamic Republic for the sake of not getting the Islamic Republic angry. And then once those have been neutralized, and they were done so in the 12-day war, the next phase would have been to focus on 2. So obviously, I forgot, the first phase was the rocket launchers, the main decision makers when it comes to attacking Israel, and obviously nuclear facilities, because those are the threat to Israel and also to the world. And then whatever is a threat to the Arab countries in the region. And then now to help the Iranian people dismantle their government. That was what Israel was about to do at the end of the 12-day war. And Trump stopped it, which was they were about to target the political leaders and also the units and the people who are the main decision makers responsible for anti-riot control. Basically, those are the people that we're going to be targeting. And Israel, that was like, this is not even a suggestion, that was Israel's plan, which shows, I mean, obviously Israel's intelligence is better than you and me, whatever. And given that they were doing that, I mean, we said this on our channel that should be what they're doing. That we hope that's what they're doing. And then we were informed that that's exactly what their plan was. And also, if you look at it here, let me show you this line. And Israel is mentioned many times in this document. Hold on. Okay, yeah. So for the first mention is here. Recognition of normalization with Israel. The interim government, basically the transition government, will officially recognize the state of Israel and initiate normalization efforts without preconditions, making a historic shift away from ideological hostility. So that's why Israelis need to support this team and this plan. Okay.
I think the vast majority of Israelis are aware of that. Like the idea that Reza wants to normalize relations, to restore the good economic relations we historically had. That's probably something that Israelis are aware of.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to show you how central. Yeah, I want to show you how. I want to show you how central all of this is to these people. Okay, so if you go into the core principles of future Iranian foreign policy, if you go to this part, you can see the first 100 days. You can see there's so many things like end of month 3, but the recognition of Israel comes on week 1. You see that? So it's not just a policy of this team. It's such a high priority that it's basically from all the foreign policies, recognizing Israel is just basically the second thing that they're going to do on week 1. That's how important recognizing Israel is to this team.
Yes.
That's why Israelis should support this team. Isn't that impressive? Like I get excited when I say, yeah.
It is, and as you said, it's the only team that Israel can support because the other people, as you said, they have zero support from basically anyone.
Exactly.
And I mean, so that's the benefit. The question is, how do we make it happen? How do we?
Yep.
How do we? So, what you and I can do to help it? Because obviously we both want it to happen.
Okay, so everybody is doing what they're supposed to. You're asking the best question. Okay, so the Israeli government doesn't need. There's no. I mean, they're doing everything that they need to do. Okay, they are. If United States lets them, hopefully, they are. I think maybe the second round is United States is not going to stop them anymore, but they are going in the exact order of what they need to do to help the Iranian people topple their own regime, and they're not going to stop at it. So Israel is doing exactly what is the right thing to do. The Reza Pahlavi and his team, they're doing everything they can do in their power, which is signaling to Israel, to Western powers, and most importantly to the Iranian people, that they have a ready transition period government in place to fill in the vacuum of power. So meaning that there needs to be more support for regime change, because I could tell you there is not a single example. Maybe there is. You could point it out to me, but I looked and I haven't found yet a single example in history where the transition period was this planned ahead of time, right? In this perfectly with such great values and with such level of detail. I mean, you could go look at the plan because it's really detailed, and the people there are not ideological, and it's completely based on pragmatism, right? So the team, and again, so Reza Pahlavi is doing 3 things. Well, actually more, but these are the most important ones. He has their team in place. The values are in line with what we want. He is also constantly in touch with world powers, trying to build a connection between the Iranian people and all these other world powers. But most important than all, he created a framework where people, because the most important power is armed power, is military power. So like you and Reza Pahlavi knows that, and he has created a framework for the people, the armed forces within the regime, the ones who wish to defect from the regime and join his side, they have found a way for them to connect in a secure, anonymous way. So the process that you were talking about, maybe you were hoping that some people from the regime will be tired. Well, Reza Pahlavi and his team have created a framework for them to be able to unite with each other under that framework, right? So what remains is what me and you should do, basically the Iranian people and the Israeli people. And I think we should highlight this effort, highlight the unity. I think the key to most of the problems in the Middle East is the unity between the Iranian people and Israeli people. And Iranian people need to support Israel. And I hope Israeli people in return will mention and recognize and support Prince Reza Pahlavi and mention his name more often, because the Iranian people have done so much when it comes to showing their support for Israel. I mean, in the Middle East, there is no other group of people other than Israelis themselves that support Israel as much as the Iranian people. And I think, and I do know Israeli people see that. And I hope that they just respond by also supporting Reza Pahlavi. And I think the Iranian people and Israeli people just to work on building this bridge with each other. That's what we need to do to support this.
I can tell you, as someone who lives in Israel, who talks to people a lot, never, at no point in my life, was there prejudice or hatred towards regular Iranian people in Israel. It's something that I have never encountered. So in this regard, we're in a good place. Like there are a lot of people in Israel who, for example, they hate Arabs. Not their governments, the people. But I've never encountered people who hate the Iranian people. And I've never encountered I've never encountered any Israelis who are, for example, ashamed to speak Farsi. You see people speaking Farsi on the street, and they're perfectly fine with that. So I think that there is a certain risk.
Go on.
There's a certain risk that the governments of Europe can say, right now we have good relations with the Sunnis, because they are afraid of the Islamic Republic. And if we no longer have the Islamic Republic, the Sunnis will say, oh, we don't need such close relations with NATO. So that is a possible challenge, which may cause Western governments to try to undermine this revolution, because actually they indirectly benefit from the Islamic Republic being this threat to the nearby countries, which then makes them more dependent on the West. So I think that's why Trump or leaders in Europe may try to undermine this.
I mean, I don't know about that, because as much money that could be made with war, more money can be made with peace, and these Arab countries will benefit a lot more when there's not a threat at their doorstep, and the Europeans
they will benefit a lot more. But I'm not sure Europe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the small group of people in government who personally benefit from it will benefit from it.
Yeah, I mean, depends on who specifically we're talking to.
Danger.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe. Do you? But one thing I wanted to say, that I do recognize and appreciate Israelis being so kind to Iranian people, and seeing the difference between the Iranian people and the Islamic Republic. What I'm doing though is I'm trying to see if I could ask for more, which is mentioning and recognizing Reza Pahlavi more, because that's basically just mentioning the love for Iranian people. As much as that's appreciated, it's not enough. It's the leader of the revolution that is basically fighting against is the key point of unity when it comes to the fight against Islamic Republic. So I do want to basically get more Israelis to go beyond mentioning how great Iranian people are to actually mentioning how great Prince Reza Pahlavi is, and how much they think he should be supported specifically. That's what I think.
By the way, if you don't mind, why do you refer to him as a prince? His father passed away, so why is he a prince and not a king?
Oh, because he insists that he cannot be a king until the Iranian people choose to have a monarchy. So he insists that we don't even know whether Iran will become a monarchy or not. We need to have a referendum to see if we're going to be a monarchy, a constitutional monarchy. Not just a monarchy, a constitutional monarchy, which is a form of republic anyways, or a republic without a monarch. And he himself, a lot of people call him king. I just respect what he says about himself. He refuses to accept right now that he's a king, or anybody is a king, until the Iranian people have had their say in elections. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So also, by the way, supporting Reza Pahlavi filters out the Iranians who are not good, because, not all Iranians are good people. People like we don't want to generalize. We have a whole bunch of communists, right? We have a whole bunch of terrorists. We have a bunch of Islamic terrorists, right? So if you want to support the right Iranian people, then by supporting Reza Pahlavi and his team, you're supporting the Iranian people who are standing on the right side of history. So you basically are filtering out the ones who are not. Yeah. Yeah. And also, one thing else that you might want to know, the enemies of Prince Reza Pahlavi in Iran are also enemies of Israel most of the time, right? So they usually, the Venn diagram matches almost perfectly. Not completely perfectly, but almost perfectly. So if you are a communist, anti-imperialist,
I saw in
anti-Zionist,
Iran when you had like the people who were chanting, Marg Bar Dictator, they were also saying, screw Palestine. We want for government to care about Iranian people. Screw Palestine. We don't want our money going 5,000 miles away to some people we don't know. So yeah, that's very obvious.
Well, actually, they say something a lot more than screw Palestine. Maybe let me show this to you, because now that you said that, I have to show this to you. I don't know. Maybe you've already seen it.
I was trying to keep it PG 13.
All right. So I like to show this every time. So this is a stadium, guys, in Iran. This is in Iran, and this has happened multiple times. And now I saw some people are now chanting it in English in other countries, copying the Iranian people. But look at, this is the most favorite chant in stadiums in Iran. So if you can't read on the screen, the translation is shove the Palestinian flag up your ass.
Yes.
I want to know if people understand how extraordinary this is, because this was unimaginable 5 years ago. 5 years ago, this was absolutely unimaginable for anybody to do anything like this.
Yes, and it's not Paris, it's not Berlin, it's Iran. It's actually inside Iran.
Yeah, it's in the Middle East. Right? So
do you think there's like a serious risk that the regime will start bringing foreigners to help it defend the regime? Will bring like Shia fighters from Yemen, from Lebanon, from Iraq?
It's not a risk because it's happening. It's already happening. It's a 100% risk, because they're doing that. They're trying to, not only that, they're not just bringing people from these other countries to use them, to employ them to attack the Iranian people. They are trying to, especially they're doing it especially from Afghanistan, very much from Afghanistan, and they're doing it as a way to demographically re-engineer the country. So they're basically, they know that the Iranian people are trying to topple the regime. So the regime is like, what if we topple the people instead of them toppling the regime? This is the first attempt in history for a government to topple the people before the people topple the government.
Yeah.
So they're trying to they're trying to bring Islamic radicals from outside to Iran and try to get them to have as many children as possible. They actually have campaigns getting men to have sex with as many Lebanese, Syrian, people from the religious community, from Shia religious communities, and have as many children as possible to create more religious kids. That's what they're trying to do. But yeah.
So they're trying to erase the Iranian nationality, the Iranian ethnicity.
Yes, they're trying to do that. But that backfired because I don't know if this is true or it's an accusation, but during the 12-day war, the government said that some of the people who were helping Israel with regards to the drones that basically flew from inside Iran to do the things that they did were from Afghanistan. So all of a sudden the government decided to kick out all of the people. Like, they're now on they did a complete reversal on that. They were bringing people from Afghanistan in mass numbers to Iran, and now all of a sudden they're trying to kick them all out at the same time, which is causing its own chaotic situation. But
huge
so they're
deportations.
going,
Yes.
yes, yeah. So that's another thing that is happening. So they were bringing them in to change the demographics, and now they will say Israel used them, and now they're trying to kick them all out at the same time. All the people that came in through years, it took them many years to come in, and now they're trying to kick them all out at the same time, which is causing a lot of opinions and comments.
It shows how unnatural this system of control is. They have to keep inventing things to do because it's so unnatural, because it's not rooted in anything. It reminds me of an Iranian movie I watched some time ago. It was called The Seed of the Sacred Fig. And the sacred fig, it's
okay.
It's a movie by Muhammad Razalouf. I don't know if I pronounce his name correctly. So the movie basically starts with a quote. It says that the sacred fig, the tree, climbs on another tree, but it doesn't survive on itself. It suffocates a different tree. So, and this movie shows that this government, because it's so unnatural.
Oh, it got cut off again. Internet. Let me do the super chats while we wait for his connection. Sketch Therapy is saying, a mod is calling me anti-Semite. I never been that. Yeah, Sketch Therapy, guys, is not an anti-Semite. So.
Who is anti-Semite?
Oh, you're back. No, somebody in the chat was accusing. I don't know what happened. There was some drama in the chat. I was just saying Sketch Therapy is not an anti-Semite. So I was just, but go on. You were saying something? You froze because your internet connection.
Yeah, so, sorry. So that movie shows how unnatural.
Oh. Got disconnected again. So let me read another super chat while we wait. I mean, I cannot read this. Oh, this is Russian. Maybe Uri, when he comes back, he could read it. When he gets back.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
So this kind of tree.
Yes. So the movie was just showing how unnatural the type of government is.
Yes, because it's the sacred fig tree. It can't grow by itself. It needs a different tree to hold onto. So that it's like a regime that it's trying to hold onto something while suffocating it.
But Uri, when you went away, I highlighted a super chat that I cannot read. Is this Russian? And if it's so, can you read it?
Yes,
no,
it's Russian. It says we love you, Yuri.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, and the title is The Godless Republic.
Oh, that's the name of this channel, the Atheist Republic. Okay, now thank you so much because this guy usually gives me super chats and I didn't know how to read his name, and now I do. From now on, I know the Godless Republic.
Безбожная Republika.
Okay, sounds good. All right, Uri, this was a great conversation. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
I really appreciate.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you being here. And let me actually bring your. Where do you want people to follow you? Your Twitter account, right?
On Twitter, yes. My main activity is on my Twitter. I provide political commentary and updates on what's happening with the war, life in Israel, and I also like to, in my Substack, upload analysis and interesting historical and cultural details. The link is also in my Twitter, so you have my Substack and my Twitter account.
Okay, guys, I put Uri's Twitter account in the live chat, and you could see it also above me, and you could also see it on the screen below.
Okay.
So go follow him. And again, I really appreciate you being here, Uri.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
I really enjoyed the conversation. Yeah, thank you. I hope we get to have conversations again sometime. So thank you.
Okay. And have a great day.
Okay. All right. Talk to you soon. Okay, so let's go here. And guys, so don't forget to follow Uri. Again, his account is VERMINUSM. Okay, that's his handle on Twitter. And I just wanted to tell you guys, I'm Israel Chai, and Javid Shah. Okay, subscribe, hit the bell notification, like the stream, and I'm gonna go talk on my personal channel in about 10 minutes. But my personal channel is not about politics or religion. It's about how to use AI to fix a lot of problems in our life. That's a small community. Don't come there if you want to talk about politics or religion. But I'm just gonna go now and maybe say bye to Yuri as well, because he's in the backstage. And I'll see you if you guys come to my personal channel. I'll see you guys there. Okay, bye guys. I'm Israel. Hi, Javid Shah. Bye. Mwah. See you. So end the stream.